Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
I've had 56 lovers and haven't killed even one of them.
This is episode 201, recorded October 25th, 2023.
Gruesome Magazine.
You want a cookie?
No, cookie.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk
Not
about
a
this.
one.
This is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host Jeff Mohr and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. With me this week are my co-hosts, starting off with the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, but I feel like we're missing people here. There's only four of us.
Well, we can invite more to the party next week. Let's do it.
After The Exorcist.
Oh, yes,
Right.
that's right. That was fun. Check that
That was
out.
fun.
That was a great episode.
Also joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and all-around nice guy. How you doing, Bill?
I've had 56 cats.
And published author.
Yeah, the wife. Oh, what? Excuse me. Move away, cat.
And none of them ate him.
Yes,
Yes.
there it is. There it is. There it is.
And here's the cat.
Growl!
And here's one of the cats. I'm fine.
There's a cat. There's a cat. Also
There's a-
joining us tonight is Chad Hunt. He's comic book artist, co-host of Decades of Horror, the classic era in the 80s, and a writer-director himself. Accomplished and award-winning, I hear. Chad, how you doing?
I'm getting a vision, Doc.
Hmm.
I'm looking into the future, and I'm seeing this podcast actually end on time.
Fake, fraud, phony.
Charlatan.
Yeah.
You are so wrong, sir. So wrong. All right. Well, we are going. If you didn't read the title, we are going to be reviewing The Psychic from 1977, Lucio Fulci film. I can't say it. Can't say it. but
That's
we're gonna
only
do it.
one of a plethora of titles.
Yes, there's
plethora.
tons
A
of stuff to
plethora.
discuss about
A
that.
cornucopia.
But
Wow.
before we get
we are high
into
class here.
all that, Jeff, do you want to talk about Play Now real quick?
Well, yeah, you guys should know about Play Now Media by now, and we're partnering with them. All of the Decades of Horror are showing on some of Play Now Media's streaming apps. In particular, Decades of Horror of the 70s is on the Wicked Horror TV channel. So check that out. And in fact, our next pick is on that channel.
Ooh,
Good
all
stuff.
right. It's going to be fun. All right, we're going to get into this film. We're going to give you a lot of information about it. We're going to start off giving you, each of us will give our thoughts about the film. Then we'll get into a discussion about the film. It's going to be more than just a review. And then we have some feedback at the end.
A vivisection.
Yes, there you go. Nobody else uses that word, but we
Wow.
use it.
Did you like buy a thesaurus or something?
Yes.
You just.
I've been thinking hard.
Thinking. And we hope you enjoy our show tonight. And if you do, please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend button. Every click counts. Every click helps us find more horror fans just like you. All right, let's take a look at the card and get things rolling.
Ah.
Boom! The Psychic.
The side chick.
1977.
Oh.
Psychic.
Stop. Directed by Lucio Fulci. Written by Lucio Fulci. Is it Lucio or Lucio? Lucio, right? Fulci. Roberto.
Lucio.
Righty-tighty, lefty Lucio.
Gianviti and Dardano Sacchetti.
Sacchetti.
That's exactly what I said. Cast includes Jennifer O'Neill, Gabriele Ferzetti, Marc, Porel, Gianni, Garko, Ida Galli, and Jenny Tambiri.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Production company Rizzoli Film and Cine Company. Filming locations in Italy, Tuscany, Rome, in UK and Kent. Filming dates were September through November 1976. Was released August 10th, 1977 in Italy. 1979, January 26th in the US. And it was re-released in 1997. Wow. Okay. Fine. The box office was
600 million lira.
Okay, which is $675,000 US. Okay, also known as Jeff. Give us the titles.
Yeah,
I don't know, but Dolce con Morire, that was a working title, Sweet as Death.
Hmm.
And then the Italian title was Sette Note in Nero, 7 Notes in Black. And the re-release in the U.S. and on IMDb, it says Murder to the Tune of the 7 Black Notes. And then Death Tolls 7 Times. And in Germany, Die 7 Schwarzen Noten, the 7 Black Notes.
Yes, and those notes were used again by Tarantino in Kill Bill 1. All right, the synopsis is a clairvoyant woman discovers a skeleton in a wall in her husband's house and seeks to find the truth about what happened to the victim. Wasn't a very good choice for her, but hey.
That's true.
All right, well, let's find out when we first watched this film, what we thought of it and all that good stuff. Jeff, I'm going to start with you. When did you first see this? What was your initial reaction, and does it hold up today?
3 days ago.
3 days ago, he says.
So yeah, Chad, when Chad picked this, Chad should go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway,
we'll get to
when Chad picked it, I looked at it and went, "Hey, Fulci, why not?" I'm wanting to see more Fulci Giallo, and this is one I hadn't seen, so I kind of enjoyed it. It's not Jennifer O'Neill is not her most forceful portrayal, but I like the story, and I like the vision she has and how they depict it and how it really does slowly unfold. There's little things that just keep being revealed to you. So I liked it. I liked it. And I'm trying to think. There's that one really weird scene at the beginning where the mother jumps off the cliff. That's kind of...
Yeah.
But
oh
anyway,
my God! It hits her head every step of the way.
Yeah.
It's every ugly branch.
That's the Fulci touch.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a big eyeball in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good mystery, a good Giallo. Enough characters, enough red herrings, and she learns things about her visions. I'll stop there because I don't want to give away everything. So, but yeah, and some stock, pretty much a lot of stock characters from Fulci films, or stock actors, I guess, that are in a lot of films. So,
yeah. All
I
right.
dug it.
Dug it. Chad Hunt, sir, this was your pick, as Jeff said. When did you first see this? What was your first impression? And does it hold up today?
I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Usually not my kind of film, but I like this one. And I chose it for the same reasons like Jeff liked it. It was Fulci and it was available to stream, and I've never seen it, so I said, "Hey, let's check it out." And it was I was surprised by it. Usually, like I said, it's not my thing of like murder mystery type stuff. I mean, I like sticking to horror and monsters and stuff like that. But this was had a little bit of supernatural in it with the clairvoyance and all. I like Jennifer O'Neill in this. All the other actors were really good. I love the story too. I'm the same as Jeff. I love the story, how it unfolded. It was really good. Cool little characters, inept policeman asking
As
stupid questions. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. The whole premise of the body in the wall and it was great. I really liked it. It didn't. It's one of those. Either I wasn't paying close enough attention, or it really got me. I have these figured out by the end, and I didn't figure on her being the victim at the end. I didn't figure that until it started coming together there at the end, and it was a great ending. I liked it a lot. Did we find out, did she die or not, or was she still alive in there?
We never found out.
Well, I assumed not. because we heard the
watch.
7 notes from the watch.
Yeah, but Corpse could wear that watch just as well, though.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
We don't know for sure.
It was good. I liked it a lot.
No guy. Phil Mulligan, sir. When did you first see The Psychic?
I could have watched this over Jeff's shoulders because I saw it 3 days ago as well. That was the first time I'd seen it. And I've really come to appreciate Fulci, but The Psychic is one that I've never really made much effort to go out and see because I was aware that it's not typical Fulci or what we think of as typical Fulci. And that's probably unfair because Fulci did so much stuff. And not everything he did was extreme or even horror. So, this is a giallo, except for that scene at the beginning where, anyone can show you somebody jumping off a cliff, but Fulci's the guy who gives you the close-up of their face slamming into every rock on the way down. And like, okay, it's a Fulci film, but that's basically it for the real extreme gore. He's very restrained in this. And I think this is one of those, I'm going to have to watch this film again. I have a feeling this is one of those ones I'm going to appreciate more in subsequent viewings because I was just a little taken aback at how it's really pretty much just a straightforward giallo. Like you say, it's got the completely useless cops. There is no more useless person in the universe than a police officer in a giallo film. They just don't even bother. Don't even bother. Go talk to the guy at the Starbucks. He'll be more helpful. And figure it out before they do. The psychic element was cool. The twist about the nature of her visions was a really, really good twist. It kind of reminded me of Eyes of Laura Mars in some ways.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, but I actually queued that up to watch later.
Yeah. I'd like to know exactly. This is one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite movies. And for a while he talked about remaking it. And I'd be interested to know why of all the giallo, this one, why this one? Is it the writing? Is it the twist? Is there some idea he had that could go along with it? I would have liked to have seen. I mean, I like Fulci. At this point, I like Fulci more than Argento, although Suspiria is still my favorite film. But I think it might have been interesting to see someone take a hold of this with a little more, really kind of ramp up the visual style. How would Argento's visions have been like? With the way he's played with that in the past. The visions were pretty cool. It's far from my favorite Fulci film, but I think it's got a lot to recommend it. And certainly for people who are not into the crazy over the top gore of the Living Dead, the trilogy that he did. This is a pretty good entry film. Someone's never watched Fulci before, show them this one. They're like, well, that wasn't so bad. And then hit them with like The Beyond or something. Beyond. Yeah, that's the way to do it. But I'm glad we did this. I'm glad I finally had a good reason to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, go try Manhattan, baby. See what happens.
Oh, boy.
All right. So I'd never seen this before we picked it. I am a Fulci fan, but it starts with zombie. I'll just be blunt. Even I've seen Don't Torture a Duckling, but my fan of Fulci starts with zombie and goes into all the films we know and talk about most with Fulci, right? The 80s gory films, Italian. And this just gives you the smallest hint of what's to come. I mean, it really is, by comparison, by 2 years, 77 this, 79 for zombie. The difference of what he would embrace, the type of storytelling he would embrace is quite telling. Although you can see a lot of his technique in this film, I thought, and I found it very interesting. It was a very interesting watch. I was very into it, but I'm kind of with Bill. It's not necessarily a favorite of his, and I've read some reviews online where a lot of people think this is his best work. And I guess from a certain perspective, I can see where that opinion comes from, because it's well made. It's the narrative is there, and that's a lot of things, like from from City of Living Dead on. Narrative isn't really what he was after in a lot of his films. But the narrative, there is a very strong narrative here. The story is the strength of this, and so is Jennifer O'Neill, for that matter. I thought she was very captivating. And the mystery, you're just wanting to pull it together, and you're wanting to find, although I will say, given the title that we know it as, the psychic, I thought there would be a lot more psychic things going on. Really, there's one big vision, and and the rest of it's trying to put it all together, because the vision is out of sequence, and you don't have any idea of where, how the different elements of the visions relate to each other. And I found that very interesting, putting those pieces of the puzzle together. And I don't know if I've seen another film do it quite like that. And maybe that's what Quentin Tarantino was after, is just the puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
Because he famously used that 7-note thing in Kill Bill.
Kill Bill 1, yeah, sure did. But anyway, so that's and I think, it holds up as well as any other 70s Giallo film.
Oh,
it is by far a solid, straightforward Giallo film. And if you love Giallo films, there's no way you're not going to like this film. This film is it's a perfect Giallo film.
Yeah.
In that respect.
And I hate Giallo.
You do, huh?
Well, there's a departure too for Fulci, and I, at least in the 80s, his plots become almost impenetrable.
Oh yeah,
non-existent. But this one is very detailed and stays true to the thing. I mean, this vision, there's like I tried to write them all down, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or 14 things, that are in that vision that she slowly picks into.
14 things.
And it's interesting as they all come together, because she's at the end of the film, she's all but incapacitated, and then all the little pieces are starting to come together. And it's like, what do you do? Well, she's not able to do anything. And it has a little bit of Poe. I love the little bit of Poe.
Yeah,
Poe at the end.
I noticed that. I was thinking,
Telltale Heart just floating in there.
A little bit of the Black Cat.
Or Cask of a
Black Cat,
Amontillado.
yeah.
Black
They
Cat.
all kind of have the same thing, right?
And then, of course, he did a Black Cat version, which I think we've done, haven't we?
Yes, we have. This is the. I was just kind of looking. This is our 6th Fulci film, I think.
Wow.
Between
the trilogy,
70s and 80s, yeah.
Zombie, Black Cat, and this one. Anyway.
Yeah.
Can't wait till we get to Cat in the Brain.
No, don't you do not.
Well, I want to do Don't Torture a Duckling and the New York Ripper.
Oh, New York Ripper's a great date movie, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah, that voice.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into some posters, I guess. Or do we need to start off with something?
Yeah, we should maybe do that. It's now time for taglines with Chad.
Look at the chiseled features on that son of a gun, would you?
What?
Why? Why do you have?
So to make up for the last film we had you do, which had like 100 taglines, none of them good. This one's only got like 2 or 3.
I could start using this as a theme
No.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
All right. Theme song. Taglines.
I stayed up late for this. Okay, taglines. There's 2.
Yeah. Two taglines.
I didn't even try to translate any, Chad.
Good. Okay. Suddenly, she could see into the future and saw her own murder.
Wow. Spoiler alert tagline. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Suddenly and without warning, it's tomorrow and you're dead.
I like that one.
I like them, but you're right. We don't figure out she's seeing the future until like halfway through the movie, I think.
Her little romantic side account person, doctor guy, whatever the hell he is.
Yeah. Parapsychologist.
Yeah.
who should have been a cop because he's a lot smarter than that.
And he outrages the bike cop. The whole thing about like the motorcycle cops pull him over and he just goes, nope.
And then he told him frig off. He actually said frig off.
He did?
Frig off.
Frig off.
And then he says, come with us. No, you come with me.
Okay.
And the one's like at the door smoking. And just like,
there was decidedly not. They were decidedly lackadaisical about.
Oh my God!
Hauling them down there.
I hope if I'm murdered, it's never in Italy because they're never going to catch the killer. Alternatively, if I ever have to murder someone, I'm totally taking them to Italy.
Oh my God!
It's been done.
It was like, it happened in my house. Of course, they're going to look at me as being
sure. What do you think they're going to look for clues?
Well, they just immediately threw his ass in jail.
One of the things I really liked about this was she sees that wall and recognizes it from her vision, and she doesn't screw around.
Yeah.
She gets a pickaxe and she tears that sucker down. I kept thinking she's going to give up and walk away, and then we have to have this in the background. I really liked that she just took charge and went for it.
Now, did I see correctly that at the very end, when she almost looks like she's going to give up, she sees a little finger sticking through the cracks?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure I saw what I actually saw because I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
If that's what
she's got better eyes than I do. I was like, why'd she stop? What did she see? I don't see anything. So I guess I could be a cop in Italy.
Yeah. But it was interesting because like the visions weren't 100%, right? At that point, the mirror wasn't broken. Right. The furniture wasn't 100% what it was. And you don't find out till later why, but and then of course the age difference between the victim and who she saw dead.
Well, we're spoiling the hell out of it because we're looking at it and going, I mean, she sees a broken mirror, and as soon as we see that mirror, I go, oh shit, that's the mirror. They must have fixed it, is what I thought.
Right.
Right. I never thought, this is going to happen later.
Yeah. But I really liked that aspect of it. I thought, the whole, even to the point where like the victim was in their 20s, she goes, no, it's got to be in the 50s.
They set you up with that, and they set you up with that her first vision as a little girl where she sees her mother kill herself, because that happened simultaneously. So that sets you up to that's what you're kind of expecting, I guess.
Yeah, you think you're seeing it as it happened. Yeah. But there's a lot going on with that. So let's take a look at the poster. Boink. Which
beautiful poster.
Yeah, I mean, this artwork you definitely remember.
Eagerish almost.
Yeah.
Ooh, good point. It is kind of in a way without the
biomechanics.
Just a lot smoother. But the gray tones and the
it's just creepy. A skull with beautiful feminine lips. Oh, that's isn't that? I mean, there's horror there.
That is. I knew there's something felt off, and then I finally realized when you said that it's the lips.
Yeah, there's no teeth. It's the lips. Yeah. Wow. I didn't really. I mean, you see it, but you don't really see it like you just said it, right?
It just feels off, right? It's got that.
I've kissed worse.
Nah. We can try again, Bill. All right. All right, Lucio Fulci, excuse me.
So here's Fulci in the 70s. I could have put a ton more things on here.
Oh, young Dracula.
Young Dracula. God, is that right? Yeah. There is nothing less funny to an American than Italian sex comedies. But he did White Fang. He did a bunch of westerns. He did everything. The stuff that has, and isn't it interesting that of all the things he did, the things that have remained, the things that people still remember, just the horror. I say that's the thing. Horror is timeless. Horror films stick around. The westerns have come and gone, and no one's really interested in seeing a lot of that old stuff now. But yeah, the horror thing.
That's what I found so interesting about this movie is I've only seen his horror films. So seeing something like this that was written so well, had a good story, and the pacing was good. It didn't really drag out a lot like some giallos do to me. To see him do something like this was sort of refreshing in a way.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not my favorite of his movies. It's not even the best of his movies, I don't think. But I found it really different and really, something other than horror that he's done. That it was really well done, and so that's what I got out of it. And that's why I enjoyed it so much, I guess.
Yeah, well, me too. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, I think that was, I think Bill kind of floated the what's popular thing, Italian
spaghetti westerns,
and giallo, and then horror, and
he was a working director. He wasn't someone who just spit out a movie every couple of years or so. He couldn't afford to do that. He did not have an easy life, especially toward the end when health issues and family things, he really had it rough in the end. So, I mean, this guy was working all the time.
I just watched one of his westerns called Massacre Time.
Oh, wow.
With Franco Nero as the
star. I'd like to see him.
I'd
like to see that. Yeah, Franco Nero. Like I said earlier, there's a different tone to this film than the work that most horror fans are familiar with. And you can see why, that I feel like I'm doing his horror films a disservice by saying this, but hopefully you understand this one just feels more professional, right? It feels more solid.
You're going from a zombie fighting a shark to something more serious, and like this, it's like night and day.
Yeah, but I still love the other stuff so much.
Yeah. But this one feels like it was made for a grown-up audience of people who aren't necessarily into the shock stuff that we like. I totally get that.
Yeah, because basically we get the one girl victim, the skeleton as well, and then we get the fall, right? And there's really not much else.
Truly horrific, no.
I mean, there's the one guy tumbles out the window, but that is incredibly subtle compared to what we're used to from, or even with that, even the beginning of this film. I wonder, the beginning of this, I'm curious if that's like, if he wanted to do a lot more of that in this film. You know what I mean? I wonder if there's a backstory with this and how much he wanted to do and how much he could get away with. Because he certainly, by zombie, he just went all out. There's,
oh yeah,
he just didn't think it. Whatever idea floated through his head, it seems like he put it on screen.
Yep.
The eyeball getting pierced, and slowly and agonizing,
everything,
and then turn around and do White Fang. That's cool.
Of course, you've got Jennifer O'Neill, Scanners. I think everybody would probably remember her from Scanners more than anything else. Because I knew the name, and I was like, "Where do I know this name from?" And it took me a while to remember that it was.
I think she was most famous for Summer of '42.
Right. That came around when I worked in the theaters when I was in high school. So that was when I saw several times while I was working there.
And she's fine in this. It's it's a subdued performance, but that's okay.
Well, she was in Rio Lobo too. Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah.
It's hard not to think of her from The Shining and all that. Then we have did I say Shining? Sorry, Scanners is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
I misspoke. Sorry. Thank you for catching that.
No, that's I was thinking.
And there's your another Dracula comedy. Dracula blows his cool.
Oh God.
And that's not devil. And this is the husband, right? This is what is his name? Gianni?
Ducci. Francesco Ducci.
Ducci.
That's what I call it.
Gianno Garko. I knew it was kind of an odd. Gianni Garko.
Johnny Darko.
Johnny Darko.
Johnny Darko.
Johnny Darko.
Close.
Oh my God,
Johnny
that's so funny.
And he was in a few things. Devilfish, boy, if you ever get a chance to see Devilfish, That
the
is
octopus
one piece of garbage.
something
Yeah, octopus,
weird.
sharktopus. It's
Kind
terrible.
of weird thing, yeah. But he plays I mean, they kind of do this Jaws group of people getting together, and he's the sheriff, he's the Brody.
Yeah.
But he was interesting here, and he even when he's not the suspect, he seems suspicious to me.
Yeah, he does.
And it was like,
Yeah.
because we get introduced to him as they're driving off to the airplane, and he flies away, and you know, it's just like he's almost like a non-character, but then suddenly he's there all the time, and being arrested for
for owning the house.
Did not commit, or did he?
You don't understand. In Italy, that's all it needs to be.
I know.
Yes. And you're guilty of any number.
Right.
I didn't do it. Well, it happened in your house.
It happened in your house.
I haven't lived there for years. Well,
your grandmother died here.
But
that's
man,
She was 90 years old.
Can you imagine? No, I mean, think of it from a different perspective, right? You go, you have a wife, for 6 months, right? And you go off, and she goes to the home that you have stashed away in the countryside that you're not even living in, and she goes and digs up a dead body out of the wall.
She's
what the hell, lady?
She's there like 30 minutes and uncovers a 20-year-old.
Yeah, can't you just buy some furniture like a normal wife?
I know. It's like
he's on the phone to the other two, going, "She's on to us, boys."
She's on us. Oh yeah, it was just.
I mean, my house was built in 1905. I'm sure there's bodies in the walls. Lots of people lived here. I don't know their lives. That's why I don't go opening the walls. There's nothing there I want to see. Best case scenario, a bunch of rats jump out at my face. So let's just keep the walls the way they are.
That is not a confession, by the way. So.
Well, I did notice,
or is it?
In Italy, it is.
Oh.
I did notice. I was thinking the person she first suspected, Rospini, played by Gabriele Ferzetti.
Yes,
he was in Once Upon a Time in the West. He was the railroad baron that was like.
Oh, the guy who was
he had like a brace around his neck or something like that. That was always telling Frank what to do. So that's two now. Because who else? Frank Wolf was in that. That was in Il Demonio. So Italian actors we run across again.
Yeah.
Yep, they're all in the spaghetti westerns that we watch.
You get the feeling no one was paid a lot because they made a lot of stuff. You know, you look at the number of films that Fulci directed.
Yeah,
if he was getting a decent salary from each one of them, he should have died a wealthy man, but he clearly didn't. So,
and then we have another actress here to take a look at. Ida Galli. Galli?
Yeah. She was in a lot of stuff.
The Queens of Evil.
The Bloodstained Butterfly. The Case of the Scorpion's Tail. And Mansion of whatever the word Nibla means. Yeah. She was in a lot of stuff. She's very pretty.
She's the sister. Or I guess.
The one with the 56 lovers, yeah.
Yes. Or sister-in-law.
What an odd number.
Well, no, it's an even number.
Well, I mean, it's an odd. We pulled 56 out of the script writer. 56 out of it. Let's give her 56.
Well, it makes it sound more precise. It adds credence to the statistic, right? If you said around 50,
that sounds slutty. Yeah. But if you say 56, it's like, well, there must have been a reason.
That's an accomplishment.
I've had 56 lovers, and why are you so precise? Who remembers 56?
Wow, I mean, she's not old, so she's quite active.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
one for every year.
Around, not even.
I mean, Italians
like more like every month.
Italians don't just make great Giallo titles. Here's a Western she was in. Four Gunmen of the Holy Trinity.
4 Gunmen of the Holy
Trinity.
Well, there's 4 out of the 56. So.
Yeah, she's in a thing called Murder Mansion as well. I think I've seen that Murder Mansion.
She is a mansion.
Weekend Murders, The Unholy Four, Dead End. What a great titles. Eagles.
Well, she was a nice character and added some stuff. She was kind of snotty at first, but then she apologizes, and Jennifer O'Neill's character Virginia stands up to her. Right?
Yeah. I will admit, I thought she was going to be a little bit more involved in the actual crime.
Yeah, I was
surprised.
waiting for her to show up again.
It's her brother after all.
What's that?
It's her brother after all.
Yeah.
But she's there to give a crucial clue of the yellow cigarettes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Which.
Don't worry, it's not marijuana. I pee on them.
What are you talking about?
The yellow cigarettes. Never mind. My talent's wasted here.
Yes, it is.
We were talking about the Quentin Tarantino wanting to remake it. It would have starred Bridget Fonda. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did that panel at Dragon Con last year on unseen horror films that never got made, and I could have just done an entire panel on two people, Guillermo del Toro and Quentin Tarantino. There are probably more cool projects that those guys have announced that have just gone nowhere, and this was one of them. Because every time Tarantino comes out, I'd like to do this, and you're like, yes, that sounds like a great idea, Quentin Tarantino. And he's like, I'll just do another Western or something. And then he does something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is absolutely brilliant. And I loved it, but I would have liked to have seen his Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, that would have been interesting.
I guess we've only got one movie from him coming, and that's supposed to be it. So one more.
Or a horror movie. Any horror.
Yeah, just a Quentin Tarantino's horror movie. What would it be? Be cool.
So I need to. See it. Okay, Bill, I have to test you here.
I'm gonna fail.
So the woman that was was the assistant to the parapsychologist, I think, or I don't know who she was. Her name was Jenny Tamburi. Their name was on the list. She was in a movie called Frankenstein Italian Style.
That's not. I wonder. Is there any chance that's also known as Frankenstein's Aunt Tilly?
I don't know. I don't think so. It says
Frankenstein
all'Italiano. The synopsis is a mad scientist creates a Frankenstein creature that is better endowed than his ancestor and uses his female assistants to prove their point. And it is rated X. So what I had read is she did a lot of
holy crap, that's the worst looking Frankenstein ever.
Isn't it?
My God! It's like it looks like Jay Leno, but still the worst looking Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, so rated.
I wish we had a picture of it that we could show.
The fact that it's rated X may not be a mark on her, because they were kind of infamous in those days for making a movie, and then once it was done, they would put inserts into it, and suddenly it's an X-rated movie, and you're an actual actor walking down the street, and there you see this piece of crap with your name on it. You're like, oh, there we go.
Well, the thing I read said that's what she did mostly, but here she was in this, or had done a string of those, I guess, and I don't know exactly.
It's also known as Casanova Frankenstein.
I've heard that one.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've heard of that title.
Oh no.
So here's an actress who, when she got to make a Fulci movie, was like, "Oh, at last, something legit."
And she was good too.
Yeah, she was fine.
She was the one that she actually solved more stuff than anybody else did in the movie.
She did. Yeah. I thought she was great. I thought she was real fresh.
And you mentioned Ferzetti, because we first see him with the full beard and everything, and then he shaves it off, and the whole guy, I loved his character, because he was such a great misdirect, right? Because you obviously thought it was him, and he just looked like he was the bad guy. Yeah. But then because he falls into the street, but he.
She asked him about the girl's name, and he kicked her out of the house. He gets real mad all of a sudden.
Yep. But then he's all bandaged up, and the cops are talking to him, and he's like, "I didn't do it. I didn't do it." Oh my gosh.
No, he wasn't great, misdirect. Well, and same with the Vision. So we see the Vision, and his face is usually juxtaposed with, on either side of that is the guy limping, right?
Right. So you think
And
it's
he has
him.
And he has a limp, so we think, oh, it must be him, you know.
Yeah. And then the picture of the magazine cover, and then we find out wasn't 73, it was 72, and all that. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on in here that it really is well written.
Yeah.
It's so much. It was so much different than the Fulci I'm used to that it just didn't feel.
I mean, you feel
right.
You feel like the Fulci films that I love. You really feel like there wasn't so much as a screenplay as just like a 25-page synopsis of this happens and this happens and this happens. And
so why are there maggots flying in through the window? Yeah. But I don't know. There's a charm to that, though. You get to love his style and storytelling technique, right? So. But you can see it, but it's also in here. There's a lot of, these long shots of people walking into the rooms and walking around. You get shots overhead going down, like when she's hiding and you see the guy walking around. It really are beautiful in the way they're shot. It reminded me of, well, a lot of the Giallo films, but the ones that we've been doing with Argento and stuff. There are so similar in a lot of those aspects. Matter of fact, the house at one point felt like one of the houses in an Argento film. One of the ones that we did where the kids were in the ceiling or not in the ceiling, but the attic or something. I can't remember the name of which one it was, but it felt like it may have been even the same location that is used here.
Now they did do a lot of good camera movement, and they do a lot of zoom, which normally bothers me in these films. Even Mario Bava, my favorite, toward the end, you can see they're using the zoom lens because it's cheaper and easier to set up than, say, dolly shots and everything. But here, it didn't seem quite as, I don't know. It for some reason,
it wasn't overused. It wasn't overused.
Yeah.
Well, it actually kind of fit the way your eye would actually move. You see this room, and then, oh shit, there's the mirror. Or there's the piece of paper under the bus tipped over. Or whatever.
The fact that this is a mystery and there are clues and so the camera constantly prowling around and looking at things did sort of work. We're trying to piece it together. I say it's a well-made Giallo with more of an emphasis on the mystery, even though there is a supernatural element, which not all of them have. This one seems more of a straight crime procedural than a lot of them.
Yeah, most of them implied the supernatural more than this one does.
Right.
But the visions and the psychic part of it.
Yeah.
One of the great things about this movie that really caught my eye during it was the cars. Oh my God, the automobiles this guy owns that they're driving around in, and they get right there. It's just exquisite.
Well, there was a Rolls Royce right at the beginning.
Yes.
Where she drives through the tunnel.
Yeah.
These are the last few years of beautiful cars,
Yeah, the yellow cab.
Yeah, the whole thing about the cabs weren't yellow until 7. It was like there were only 18 cabs. It was like, wow, what a great detail. Silly detail, but what a great detail. But yeah, the cars I just thought were amazing because there was always a different one. Every time she went out to drive a car, it was a different car.
So we should probably say something about, I get his name right, Dardano Sacchetti is an old hand at Giallo and horror movies. He wrote Cat of Nine Tails and The Bay of Blood. I was in on it, wrote the story or something along those lines. And then on up to this one, and then Zombie, and then the trilogy. I don't. It's interesting to me what the writing would sound like for that. The New York Ripper, Scorpion. So anyway, he was a presence during that period. Let's put it that way.
Okay. It's really difficult to talk a lot about this film because it has a smaller cast than usual, and it's just straightforward, right?
It's just straightforward story told in a pretty compact little. It didn't seem like it was an hour and 37 minutes. I think it didn't seem like it was that long. I mean, it just kind of pushed along. There weren't too many dead spots in it. And it didn't need all the gore. I don't think. Yeah, that first scene with the lady falling down, I was like, it made my sack draw up like a but it's because that was pretty bad, but the rest would, and I went, oh, there's Argento. there's the Argento, not Argento, but there's Fulci, I know. And and it went on from there. I was shocked to not see any more gore.
After that one, you're wondering when is somebody going to get their eye stuck?
Yeah. It didn't.
Because the only other gore we have is the result of the one girl getting murdered, the older lady.
Yeah.
And it's kind of thrown at us like Night of the Living Dead, where they discovered at the top of the stairs, like But it was great. It was a great shot.
Yeah.
Well, the cinematographer too is Sergio Salvati, was also a regular with Fulci, so they knew their probably communicated well together and knew what they were each looking for.
And usually, we have stories about like drama on the sets and everything, and really the only thing we know about this is that De Laurentiis has evolved this, and they didn't like the original script. They didn't like the original script, so they had to go back to the drawing board, and they asked Fulci, the Sacchetti, who you're talking about, asked Fulci what he was obsessed with, and he was obsessed with fate, and that made it into this movie, because this movie is about fate. Her vision is her fate, right? So we just don't know it until the end. So spoilers, but you can see it now that you know that, and you see the film. It's there all along. It resonates.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, I was really surprised by this. I was. It wasn't what I was expecting, but yet it was, but not from Fulci, right?
Yeah.
Which means that I need to go watch earlier Fulci films, because I've heard a lot that his earlier films are a little bit more straightforward. He wasn't into the. He was a little bit more direct in his storytelling and stuff, and more. But yet his style was there, and I'm curious about catching some of his other films.
I think once it got into the 80s and, gore was the big thing here in America, and makeup effects and mechanical effects and stuff like that. He just got into that like it was a comic book or something. And just whatever sticks to the wall, man, let's put it in there. Sharks versus zombies, whatever.
He was literally making a sequel to Dawn of the Dead.
Girls throwing up butts, that's
Yep.
Oh my God, that film.
That was great stuff. I'll never forget that. But this was also good. And I can see why it's not as greatly known as his other stuff, because but it's still a very well made, well written movie, even well acted, I'd say. So
and I'm really this movie made me pause after I watched it and just think there are really so many Italian films, or for our case European films, that we really haven't seen. There's a number of them that are famous enough that are really well known. We've mentioned a lot of them here just from Fulci alone, but there are so many others that we could go and explore and catch and see what's going on.
Oh yeah,
I'm really curious about seeing more and more of these.
I am too. I make fun of them a lot, but I really have come to kind of appreciate giallos since we've been covering them a little bit. But this one is a giallo. I guess it's classified as a giallo, but it's still, I don't know, sort of a step above the normal giallo that we see, where a normal giallo, you'd have this guy with a big knife, hairy wrist, stab somebody, and then at the end it's a woman, and it's
right.
It's very much a man's hand that's doing stabbing the whole movie, but then at the end, it's a woman, and that kind of tomfoolery is. But this one had some red herrings that actually worked, and story that worked, and everything else. So it was a giallo to me, giallo done right, I guess. I'm going to get letters, aren't I?
You're going to get letters.
Well,
So
but
direct all letters to Chad.
yeah.
The way the clues from her vision unfolded, it was kind of like you're there with her looking for those.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this and go, oh wait, there's that, there's that bust, that was tipped over. When does that get tipped? So it really sucked me in. I mentioned this massacre time thing with Franco Nero. That thing really surprised me. It's from 1966. So I don't know how Franco Nero's career was in, but I expected him to be, like Clint Eastwood, like the man with no name, the Django type character. Mm-hmm. But he's not. He's like a prospector that goes back when he finds out somebody from his family is killed or disappears or something. And his drunken brother is back at this place. His brother is the hot gun hand. And Franco Nero's kind of the inept guy who's trying to fight the, whoever. So it was interesting. It took me I expected to see the fancy gunplay from the Franco Nero's character, and it was this other. Anyway, I guess that has nothing to do with.
Yeah. Well, I watched this
Except it's
on.
Fulci.
I watched this on Tubi as it didn't even have the full murder part. It was strange. What was it on Tubi?
It was just the seven
notes.
Yeah, it was strange because it didn't have the murder part in the front. So,
well, it was on something as the psychic, and then it was on something as
on Screenbox as a psychic.
Yeah, and then the long one that's on IMDb was on one of them too. Something.
Yeah, so it's so strange that they're all over the place in different names. I mean, I guess it isn't because it's kind of commonplace, right?
Well, it's interesting that IMDb tagged on to this murder in the tune of the 7 Black Notes. Whereas, like, if you look it up, like in terms of Blu-rays and stuff like that, they call it the psychic. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why IMDb called it. Went
anything
to
other than the psychic
later retitle.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, it was playing on Tubi. It's playing on Screenbox, you said, and a number of other free online places. So check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. And speaking of comments, Jeff, I believe we have some feedback.
We do. Oh, you know what else? It was on Canopy. That was the other one.
Canopy, which is the
with the library card.
Library card thing. Yeah.
Library card.
It's a great service. Okay. Feedback. Yes, folks, we have feedback. I might read the first one just because it's pretty short. This is on episode 155, Exorcist 2, The Heretic. And Savage 75 says, this movie is so weird.
Yeah, he's not
right
wrong.
to the point. Yep.
He's not wrong. I like it. Concise,
Yeah.
And then episode 199, Godzilla versus Megalon. Chad, you want to take a look at Nick Gadman?
Mr. Nick Gadman. He says, this month, my least favorite 7 words in the English language are, Chad Hunt cannot be with us tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
man. Nick's my buddy. That's 2 episodes. I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say, we miss you, Chad. Well, thank you, Nick. That makes this all worthwhile since I don't get paid. Nick also goes on to say, I remember watching this one about 30 years ago as part of a Godzilla season, probably on BBC 2. All I remember is the monsters making martial moves, probably martial arts moves,
yeah,
as they squared up with each other, which was freaking hilarious. Godzilla doing that physics-defying flying kick.
Yes.
Yeah, but also a little kid screaming, Jet Jaguar! Over and over and over again. I assume this is what Bill Mulligan was referencing in his hilarious tirade.
I don't remember, but sure.
Yeah. Well, you were complaining about the kid's voice or something because of the dubbing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Thanks, Nick. And then we have one from Dallas Nostromo.
Yeah.
Doc, you want to take that one?
Sure. Dallas says, I've always preferred Godzilla as a menacing monster rather than a protector of Earth. I also don't really like it when Toho makes him silly. My main problem with this film is I didn't really like Richiro Manabe's musical score. Manabe's, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm much more of an Akira Ifukube. You gave me this because of the names. Fan of his music is more dramatic.
I think Brian Clark talked about that on the
Yes.
episode. So yeah.
I also found it odd that there's nudity in the form of a Playboy photo in the cab of the truck. This film clearly made with a younger audience in mind. I wonder what the backstory was with that decision. Really enjoyed listening to you all talk about the film. Always love a good Godzilla podcast. Dallas. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Doesn't Dallas have his own blog on kaiju movies?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's damn good.
There are so many Godzilla movies coming out, Godzilla shows and movies in the next year. We're going to be definitely talking about Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Lone Wolf. Bill Mulligan. Can you take
Lone Wolf 81684 says, this was my first Godzilla movie. Yeah, I know. Shocker, right? In the late 80s, I was at my aunt's house running around with my twin cousins, and my aunt popped in the VHS tape of Godzilla versus Megalon. There I was.
Okay, wait. How does his aunt have a VHS tape of this? Why does his aunt have it? Okay,
that is awesome, isn't it?
Lone Wolf was raised in wealth. You know,
there you go.
Yeah, you know, this isn't Lone Wolf 81683. This is Lone Wolf 81684. You know,
if it was the late '80s, they had them. They were around.
Yeah.
No, I know they have. It's just like his aunt's got one. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah.
It was an interesting. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
There I was sitting there going, wow, look at that dinosaur breathing blue fire and that cool looking robot. Okay, he's a kid. Doesn't know any better. That was the beginning of my Godzilla super fandom. All four of you guys took me back in time to that very day, and it was such a delight. The first film is still my favorite, but this one is still a fun time with more cheese than a Chicago deep dish. Special thanks to Dirk and Brian for stopping by to discuss this film. Love y'all.
Oh,
thank you,
Lone great,
Wolf.
Lone Wolf. I love it. Chicago
Thanks, Lone Wolf. And then
that's a lot of cheese.
Back to Chad for Scott Wells.
My man Scott Wells says, I have a soft spot for this one. Yes, it's childish, but I was the right age when it came out for it to leave an impression on me. I remember the discussions of this and other films like it on the second grade playgrounds. It was right around this time I discovered the existence of Mothra, but I wouldn't get to see her for a couple of years. I remember that age age 7. I thought the dolphin float toy was underwhelming, but I love the monster fights, and that's why I tuned into these. I always liked the look of Megalon, but he never seemed the brightest of Godzilla's adversaries.
Well, no.
He's sort of the patron kaiju for all us ADD kids. Great show, guys.
Our audience is awesome with these analogies. I love it.
He actually, he did. What's his? Scott's got a Facebook group, doesn't he? For the life of me, I can't remember it.
It's I'm in it. The name is escaping.
So it's not very exclusive.
Right. They'll let anybody in because I'm in it.
Yeah, we'll find it. Stick it. I'll come up with it here in a minute. All right. So that's it for 199 Godzilla versus Megalon. And now we actually have a couple of comments on episode 200, The Exorcist, that just went live today. And I like this one. I'm going to take this one from LD Crumley. I think it's LD, could be ID, I guess. About time, someone commented. I don't know if he's talking about time we did the podcast or about time somebody put a comment on that movie.
He's probably the first one to comment on the video.
He was the first comment. And Joel Bartolomeo says, this is on my menu for tonight. Appreciate it, Joel.
Yeah, man.
Good to hear from you. And Mikey Z makes a couple of comments. First, he says, and this is on the Facebook post, I think.
Peachy Z.
Yeah, PGZ. 2 hours of a devilish good time by the Titans of DOH.
Ooh.
Titans of DOH.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I have no idea where we're at, but then Mikey Z does a nice one here. And I'm did you read? I think Chad should read this one. He's our Mikey Z.
Go, Chad.
Go.
Yeah.
Why, Demi? Why? Why did you wait so long to do this episode?
Golf clap for that
Luigi.
one. Yeah.
All right. Why, Demi? Finally, the best horror film of the 70s, and Jaws is my favorite film. And the entire cross-section Grue Crew is here to admit their wisdom and insights. Did he say wisdom?
Wisdom, son.
Insights?
At least the two that joined us.
We put the dumb in wisdom.
Of this excellent film. Saw this first in 1974 when I was 11. I snuck into the theater to see it and laughed most of the way through it. Says a lot about 11-year-old me from Beetlejuice Jr. It keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Saw it about 4 years later and was truly impressed with the filmmaking aspect of the film. The direction, acting, and makeup effects by the great Dick Smith put this in my top 10 horror films. Mercedes McCambridge's vocals as the devil will stay with you. Vocals even. There's a pure sense of evil vomiting forth from the screen.
Good choice of words.
Like Chad, the next time I saw it was when the director's cut was re-released in theaters in 2000, I think. Not going to talk about Exorcist 2, The Heretic. You'll have to. Yeah, you'll have to search the DOH archives for my response to that POS. Our show was better than the movie. I'll tell you that much.
Wow, nicely done.
Faint praise.
Great to see the DOH sextet. Ooh, that's dangerous talk there on this well-deserved and beloved film. Fantastic podcast by the entire Grue Crew. I'm going to posit this request one more time, please. Have the women of DOH comment on the 1980s remake of The Cat People.
Ooh.
I think an all-female perspective on that will be illuminating fair.
Yeah.
Why? What do they know that we don't? We're men. We're men. They're women. As women, they should have no opinion on that movie.
Yeah.
Love you all. Mikey Z. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Mikey.
Yeah.
Appreciate the heck out of it. And then this one's for Bill. Jerry Chandler.
Jerry Chandler. It's a pretty short Jerry Chandler missive. When this officially drops October 25th on YouTube and on the various audio platforms, don't let the runtime deter you from giving it a listen. I was going to give him a friendly ribbing about the 2-hour length, but it just breezed by. Jerry was going to make fun of us for lengthiness.
Yeah.
In the shortest comment he's ever
made.
Yeah.
That's true. It took them a long time to finally get this movie for a myriad of reasons. But it was really one of the better episode discussions in recent memory. And I say that as someone who has really enjoyed all the recent episodes.
Thank you, sir.
Jerry.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you, Jerry.
It did fly by. It did fly by, and we could have kept on going, but we got to sleep.
Sleeping is good.
Jerry.
So it was worth the wait.
Yeah. We waited for a reason. And it was time, and it was a great time.
And I didn't even think about it. Daphne is sort of an unofficial 70s member. It just doesn't fit with her schedule very often. Mm-hmm. And then we invited Crystal because she had hosted the panel at Dragon Con on The Exorcist.
Yeah, did a fantastic
And now
job.
it takes our people to go. That was the entire Decades of Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Grue Crew, the current one.
That was it.
At any rate, so.
Mm-hmm. Have to do that more often.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, usually I was thinking, boy, with this many people, it's just going to be a flustercluck. But no, it worked well. It was fun.
Flustercluck.
That was fun. What popped up in my memories today was episode 150 from 2 years ago.
What episode was that? What did we do?
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
What will we do in 49
170? Yeah, what are we going to do for 225?
Oh my God!
I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Oh man, Ricky Bobby. Oh my God, where'd that come from?
Well, that's it for the feedback at this point. And I have no doubt. I'm not asking for this, Jerry, so don't feel obligated that there will be a longer comment from Jerry about The Exorcist.
Oh, I hope so.
I could be wrong.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So thanks, Jerry, Mikey Z, Peachy Z, Joel, Bartolomeo, LD Crumley, Scott Wells, Lone Wolf, Dallas, Nostromo, and Nick Gadman from across the pond, and Savage75, who has the shortest, a 5-word thing that could be no truer. This movie is so weird. Okay.
That is true.
All right.
Do we know what we're going to be doing next episode?
Indeed, we do.
We do.
Well, share it with me.
It was my turn. I don't just come here unprepared, like, oh no, I got to think of something. Unlike some folks, this is actually one I haven't seen in a while, but I remember it as being pretty nuts. It's 1972, folks, and Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still alive. So if you want to make a movie in Spain about, fascist, blood-sucking, terrible people, you got to tell it about vampires. Plausible deniability, we call it. And it helps if you make it so incomprehensible, they're like, I don't know what's going on here. Yes, it's The Blood-Spattered Bride.
All right.
Yes.
Which is, I think, we found out it's on currently on Tubi, and it's on the Wicked Horror TV channel. Michael kills me when I say weird. Wicked Horror TV channel, and then I think it's on Pluto TV too. But I did want to comment because I'm pretty sure this is the one. I want to say it was Wes DiOrio had hit us up with a question about a movie he saw a long time ago.
Yes,
that had a hand with a wedding ring on it, laying on the beach.
Right.
And then we couldn't figure it out, and some other podcast told him about it. But then he said, "You're still our favorite. You're still my favorite." I think it was Wes, and hopefully he can confirm that. But it turned out to be The Blood-Spattered.
Yep. It
Right?
has a
very
famous scene.
There is a hand sticking out of the sand.
Oh, heck, there's a whole woman sticking out of the sand.
Well, there is, but she's not sticking out at first.
No, you got to dig
Chad,
for her.
if I remember correctly, this is kind of one of those VHS boxes that you always pass by when you were going into the shop, and you're like, I want to catch that. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Because it was The Blood-Spattered Bride. What a great title.
But you got to wait. You got to wait for a weekend when Grandma's out with her, little
church
itty
group.
bitties, church biddies group, and because this wall to wall nudity. It's adapted by it's a loose adaptation of Carmilla, like almost all the adaptations of Carmilla
are loose.
Yeah, and I think this might be the only horror movie done by the director who is most famous for things like The Girl with the Golden Panties, or
Girl with the Golden Panties. No,
I honestly think that was one of his films. I might be wrong by a little bit, but not much. Yeah,
I dated her in high school.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, The Girl with the Golden Panties.
You're going to cost me money again, Mulligan. Let's see.
What?
He's got to go buy some golden panties.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
I'll send you my old pair.
They didn't start out golden.
It just won't be the same.
I peed on them.
Losing our audience. One joke at a time. All right. Jeff, Chad, Bill, thank you for joining me on this episode. A lot of fun visiting our old friend Fulci once again.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
We've got more to go.
Good
There's more to go. We'll have to get to him.
Yep.
All right. Let's get out of here. Let's say goodnight.
Good night, folks.
Good evening.
Good night.